Alrighty, we are pleased to have on today from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, an absolute stud, four-time Northern winner, maybe one of the best match players that I have seen / heard of. You know, there's a lot to talk today about with this guy, Greg Swenson.
Thanks for having me, Drew. Not a four-time Northern winner, four-time Northern finalist. So
my stats are off. My bad. Okay, that's all right. Well, you've been there. You've been to the dance. Your resume is quite incredible, Greg. But we're going to talk about, you know, all the way from the young Greg to where you're at now.
okay.
You know, first up, like I said, thanks for coming on the show today. You're in your car. Looks kind of cool. Let's talk about growing up in Prince Albert. You know, I mean, let's talk about a young Greg, what you were doing, what kind of sports, hobbies, and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Prince Albert, I mean, I think lots of people in the province are pretty familiar with the Cook Golf Course. Unbelievable track to be able to grow up and play on. As a junior golfer, I got to compete against a lot of great players. I mean, obviously Dave Stewart, legend. Eric McCallum was unbelievable junior golfer, so it was super hard to win any local events back then. So growing up there was a real treat. And then once you get a little bit older, you start playing with a bunch of guys there. They call the syndicate. So basically every weekend you're looking at almost a competitive tournament round.
Nice.
So it's actually a good way to kind of dial your game in. And when you go to a tournament, you're used to, you know, knocking every 2-footer in, playing by the rules, making sure you hit the cup every time. So it's really something that helped me develop my game, I felt like. So great place to grow up.
So obviously you mentioned a lot of good names there. I'm going to talk about some of the guys that you played with over, you know, still to this day. But I do want to talk about obviously playing junior golf, and as you mentioned, playing in the syndicate. But when did you really go, hey, you know, golf for me, I like it. You know, it's a fun game, it's competitive, and hey, I'm pretty good at it. So let's try some big tournaments.
Yeah, well, I think so. After high school, I went and did my 1 year at the professional golf management program in Lethbridge. My game wasn't quite that great. I think I went there as like a 4 handicap, so nothing too great. And then I spent the summer working at Green Hills Golf Resort. I don't know if you ever played there before.
Green Hills Golf Resort. Where's that?
Yeah, it's by Kelvington.
Oh, no.
At the Greenwater Park. It is honestly got to be one of the toughest tracks in the province.
Really?
I spent the summer working there, and honestly, I think working there for that summer really dialed in my game. Like, that course is unbelievably hard. So
wow.
I spent the summer working there. Why is it so hard?
Yeah.
I feel like you got to be ball striking it so good there. Basically, if you miss the fairway, you're either in the trees or you're in long fescue grass. So, like, you really have to be dialed in tee to green there to shoot a good round. That summer, my best round there, I think, was 1 under par. And I don't know, when I went to other golf courses, it just started to feel easier. So I feel like that was a huge thing.
Okay, so let's talk some amateur golf here. I mean, obviously through your notes, we've chatted, you know, off the record. Your first amateur, it was at the Royal Regina. You know, walk us through that experience. You know, I mean, before you do that, I mean, even when I got into my first amateur event, it was kind of, it's a little different, right? You're playing guys that have been doing this for 20 years, you know, 15 years. And, you know, coming out of junior golf, you're kind of a stud, right? Humbly speaking, but you go into an amateur event, it's a little different. So walk us through your first experience at the men's amateur.
Yeah, I remember that my first, it was at Royal Regina. I birdied 3 last 4. I think I was in 4th place or something like that. Then the second day got rain delayed. And I remember being on the range the next morning because I didn't have a prime time tee time my first day. So I wasn't around all the studs back then. And I remember being on the range and just hearing these guys hit shots. I was like, I remember being like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing here. I mean, I played a pretty good first round, but I never won any junior tournaments or even competed really at provincials at that point. So I just remember being really nervous. And then I think it's like the 14th hole that runs along the par 4 after the par 5, 14 or 15?
13.
13. Yeah, I pumped like 3 out of bounds left. Quickly threw up like an 86 or something and ended up missing the cut. But I after that, I took that experience and then started playing more men's tournaments and just kind of gained my confidence over the years.
So Greg, and also we talked off record too, and this is kind of a good question for everyone listening, and it's even me because I love this stuff. But you kind of had a tough go in the amateur events before you kind of figured it out. You kind of mentioned, you finished between 15th and 25th for the last 5 Ams. My question is, was that frustrating? One, and two, how do you overcome that? Over that hump and become successful and start becoming a top 8 player, top 10 player, or whatever that is.
Yeah, it was super frustrating because I felt like every time I was going to the AM after that, I had a good chance to compete and make the team. And golf is one of those things where consistency is the hardest part, right? So it's just those 4 rounds together without having that one bad round. It seemed like I always had that one round where it just kind of would leak me out of the top 10, and then I wouldn't shoot like a great round to get me back in. So it was definitely frustrating over the years, but I guess what I think to get over that hump is just confidence. I know the last few years for me, the biggest thing on the golf course has been confidence. I'm just confident with my game. I know my game, and I just stick to that. I don't try to play a different game that other people are playing. So.
Okay, Greg, I want to talk about the 1 year that you worked at Candle Lake. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So I just got back there from a junior hockey reunion. Never played it. Great track. I loved it out there. It was super nice. Greens are a little tiny, so make sure you kind of hit some good shots. I did want to ask you, what is your low round out there when you worked out there?
So that was that was in 2007. I think my lowest round that year was 68. But at that time, the course was a little different. Over the years, they've had some upgrades. They changed the first hole to a par 5 now, I believe. The second hole used to be shorter little par 3. The third hole used to be shorter. The 8th hole used to be a shorter hole too, and the 9th hole used to be a par 4. So it was actually completely different now.
Yeah.
Because now I think they have 5 par 5s.
6.
Or do they have 6?
Yeah.
So I actually haven't been there for years, but it's a course where you need to hit it straight again off the tee. One of the strengths of my game, I felt like over the years, has been my tee game, just keeping it in place. So playing there really helped with that because, like you said, you just got back from there. You definitely can't be spraying it off the tee there. So.
Okay, Greg, there's this long list of winners, and this is where I got a little messed up when I said 4-time champion. But here's a good question I like to ask everyone, I think, and it always portrays you kind of players. When did you figure out how to start winning? Because I'm going to list off a few here. Greenwater Men's Open in 2008, then the Candle Lake Match Play, the Crook Club Champion in 2009. Like, when did it all come together? Like we talked about beforehand, not doing so well in the amateurs, and then bang, like this list is quite steady and quite consistent.
Actually, I think it was after that first Royal Regina Am. I ended up going to play the Melfort Open or Melfort Match Play. It was the weekend after the Northern, and I ended up playing Colin Coben in the semifinals. And growing up in PA, Colin Coben is the man. I watched him play the Northern growing up. He always stayed at my friend's parents' house. Everyone loved him. So first time I met him, 2009, I had to play him in the semis. I ended up winning the match. I honestly didn't think I had a chance. So I won the match. And then I think it was just, I finally realized, I was like, if I can beat Colin, I can win. And again, it's just the confidence. I think that's the biggest thing, is just having the confidence that you can do it.
Yeah, for sure. So I was talking to a few of my buddies this past week about the Cook Club Championship, the year-long match play. Walk us through how that all works, because I'm curious, and it seems like an intense format.
Yeah, I think they switched it now, but I was a member there after my junior days for like 6 years or so, and I loved playing the match play. So they would just set out a draw at the beginning of the year. They would rank everyone 1 to 16, and then you would just have a certain date to play your match by. And that was the first year I ever entered the club championship, and it was in 2009. the club just turned 100 years old. We were having the Mid-Am that year, the Canadian Mid-Am. And I mean, at that time, Martin Ring, who I ended up playing in the final, he had won the club championship like 10 times or something stupid like that. I mean, around Cook, not many people better than Marty. And yeah, I ended up beating him again. That was the same. I lost to Cobes a month earlier, and then I beat Marty. And I don't know. That's kind of just when my game started gaining confidence. And I like the year-long match play. I thought it was a good way to see who was kind of playing well all year rather than just one weekend. So,
Greg, I'm trying to look through this thing here too. Have you won a men's amateur before?
no, I have not. No.
So what?
I think the last time I played the amateur was like 2012 or something like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Do you mind me asking?
Well, so the last time I did play, it was my one and only mid-amateur I played. It was at Warman. I finished in 5th. I finished at 3 over par. I had 3 doubles the first day, so I played pretty good for the rest of the week. And then I just moved to Saskatoon, so I didn't have vacation days to take off for nationals. I ended up going to nationals. And I think after that, I just kind of took a look at, what I wanted to do in the summer. And I just started realizing maybe I didn't want to try to go grind out provincials and then go to nationals for 2 weeks of the year. So I really like the weekend events that we host in this province. So I just kind of play mostly those.
Fair enough. Greg, you just mentioned nationals. Walk us through your nationals experience.
No, I didn't go.
You didn't go. You didn't go. Sorry, I thought you said you went.
I qualified and I didn't go.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that moves on here. Okay. Let's go to Saskatoon now. You're playing there now for how many years now?
So I first moved to Saskatoon. I played my first 2 years at the Legends. I had more friends kind of there that I knew at the time. And then started a bunch of guys like Dave and Sean Dumpy, all those guys were at the City Club. So I ended up jumping over there, and playing there has been unreal. Like every year our greens are rolling like 10s. The competition is stiff. I mean, you got to play really well around there to beat guys. So,
Okay, before we get into some L'Oreal stuff here, because I know you're the captain this year, correct?
I'm stoked. I'm pumped for L'Oreal.
Okay, before we get into that, I want to touch on this past weekend. You win your, or it is 2 weekends now. You won your club championship by 8, total of -9. Who'd you end up beating, and walk us through that win?
So that was unreal. I was a little disappointed. Dave Stewart didn't play. Me and him have been first and second, kind of going back and forth the last 3 or 4 years. So when he told me he wasn't playing, I was a little disappointed. But we had Michael Smith, who's having a great year on the golf course this year. I think he's a Mid-Am team member.
Correct, yeah.
And then another guy who's just kind of stepping up his competitive golf is Davis Uzdebski. I know he's been taking a lot of lessons from Phil Jonas, who I see out there grinding all the time. An unreal teacher, I hear. So the 3 of us were all tied at -3 after the 11th hole. So we had 7 holes left. And then I birdied my next 5. And then going on to the 18th tee, I had an 8-shot lead. So
wow,
kind of crazy. Kind of just escalated. I just started making some putts, and then before you knew it, it was kind of done. So
wouldn't that be nice, eh? Just
yeah,
an 8-shot lead. Like, yeah, that'd be nice. You can make 7 and still win. Wow.
Yeah, I know. It was pretty comfortable last hole. So
okay, let's go to an event that my club I play at. Excuse me, sorry. The Royal Regina versus the Saskatoon Golf and Country Club. The L'Oreal Cup obviously divides the highways between Regina and Saskatoon. You're the captain this year. Wayne Schmidt is the captain of Team Royal. Walk us through. I don't know if you can say who's kind of your team already, but what are you guys excited for? And I heard the team's going to be pretty stacked from what I've heard coming down from Saskatoon.
Yeah, I mean we've been excited. We went down to Regina 4 years ago. You guys kicked our butts. you guys came to Saskatoon 2 years ago. We won that one, so it's kind of like a little rubber match here. And I think we're going in with a little bit of chip on our shoulders. We got a good squad. Our squad is already made. We had a 2-day qualifier, and then another 6 from our club championship qualify, and then I made 3 captain's picks. So we got our team made, and I think everyone's super excited. I'm a little disappointed though, because I heard you're not playing. So
Yeah, I'm not playing this year, unfortunately. It's back-to-back years I can't play, but yeah, I wish you to be out there with the boys and grind it out. Try and win a championship on our home turf. But I'll be rooting for the boys. Greg, can you list off your team, or is that kind of what's the word, confidential right now?
No, I'll list them off. So we got myself, Michael Smith, Landon Emberley, David Stewart, Sean Dunphy, Mohammed Almadawi. We got Denver Rolla, Davis Uvdetsky, Chris Schneider, Paul Tastad, and then who are oh man, every time I have to make this list, I always feel like I forget a couple names. Oh, here, let me just look. I'll just bring
Absolutely.
up the squad.
Okay, you look at that.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Matt Precision and Keegan Boyer.
Dude, that's a wagon of a team. So the boys at the Royal will be in tough. Yeah. But the Royal guys are now, I've seen some of the players that are already on the team kind of thing, and it's going to be a good match, I think. Should be good.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, like I said, we went there 4 years ago and we got whacked. So we got a little bit of chip on our shoulders this time. So,
all righty, let's go to our questions from the gallery, Greg. Brought to you by Molson Coors. Coors Seltzer's on a mission, helping restore fresh water to Canada's rivers through the Change the Coors Foundation. Enjoy the Coors Seltzer mixer pack with 4 great flavors: black cherry, mango, grapefruit, and lemon lime. All right. I won't tell you.
Cherry.
Oh, they're good. Aren't they any good? Hey, they're very good. Love those things. Okay. We got some questions here. A lot of your buddies wrote in. The first 2 questions, I won't give the name away because I'm sure you'll know. But yeah, number 1, winning the Candle Lake Open. Did that make you the match player you are today?
I hope that was Dave Canton, who I played in the finals. Oh, no. I don't know what made me the match play player I am, but that Candle Lake tournament was fun. I know I went to 18 holes both times, and I don't know if that's what made me the match play player I am, but it was definitely a fun time.
And a follow-up question from the same guy. How are you so good at match play? You basically make the final at the Lobstick or Northern every year.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I see some guys out there playing match play, and I think they immerse themselves too much in what the match is at or what they're doing, where my goal every hole is just to have a birdie putt. And then, you know what, if I win or if I make a birdie, I win the hole. If not, whatever. But every hole, no matter what the match is at, my goal is just to have a birdie putt. So that's kind of how I go into every hole, no matter what match my match is at or anything like that.
All righty. And those both questions were from Ziggy, FYI.
Oh, nice.
All right, next one here from Wyatt Nelson. Was Trevor a hard opponent in the Northern?
Yeah, I mean, of course he was a hard opponent. He's been playing well all year. I went down and played the partners tournament with Ziggy in May long weekend, and Trevor and his dad dusted us up. They won the tournament, and Trevor was playing well back then, and he plays the Cook every day, so he knows the course. He hits his 2-iron a mile, so he doesn't even need to hit driver out there. So I definitely knew I was going to have to put some pressure on him early, which I was lucky enough to do. But, I mean, that match could have easily gone his way if I didn't play so well. So,
congrats again, by the way.
Thank you.
From Cody MacArthur. Did you ever start writing your book, Bungee Jumping with Sid?
What kind? Man, that was a long time ago. No, definitely not. I don't know. That's a left field question. That was something else in my life. So.
All right. Scott Jenkins asked, "Who is the best pond jumper?"
Well, I mean, anyone who knows Scotty already knows that he's the best. I mean, I've seen him jump in 6 or 7 different ponds around the province now. So, I mean, hard to top that.
All right, let's go to your lowest round ever, and where?
Yeah, actually, my lowest round ever is only 6 under par. I shot it twice, and both times was in the final round of our club championship at the Golf and Country Club. So I actually have more rounds in the 60s in tournaments than in casual play, which is kind of weird. But
Yeah, that is bananas. How many, how many hole-in-ones, Greg?
1 hole in 1 at the Golf and Country Club in the Central Amateur.
This is an ongoing trend. Hey, you just get good numbers in tournament play. Hey.
Yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes casual rounds it's hard to take seriously. I mean, you're out there having a few pops. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just kind of feel like I don't take it quite as serious as when the tournament starts. So
Okay. Why the white pants?
why the white pants? Looks fresh. Why not? I mean,
Yeah, I like them.
anytime you see a guy on tour, they're looking fresh in white pants. So who wouldn't want to look like they play on tour?
Absolutely. Okay,
I mean, yeah, not for the tour, but whatever.
what's the weakest part of your golf game, you'd say?
Probably distance. Like I don't hit the ball terribly far, but I do hit the ball both ways and straight. So I mean, I think if there's one thing I would like to work on, which I actually was working on with Dallas Mangle, and then he moved to Phoenix, but I mean that's probably the weakest part.
Okay, a couple more here for you, Greg. Favorite beverage after a round?
Oh, the blackberry lemonade at the Golf and Country Club. It's blackberry whiskey, lemonade, half water, and they throw some frozen blackberries in there. Can't beat it.
Wow, that sounds pretty good. I'm going to have to try that next time I'm up there. Okay, Greg, next one here, and probably the last one here. This is a question we like to ask, especially, you guys around the province here. Obviously we ask professional athletes too, but it's good insight from people that play in the same events that we play in. One thing that you'd tell a young junior today, boy or girl, that want to make it in golf or be successful on the SAS tour or whatever it is, because you have, that kind of, that Rolodex of, just great winnings and whatnot. So walk us through, what you would give some advice to a young listener today.
I think some of the biggest advice, or just how to conduct yourself on the golf course to kind of take you to that next level. I mean, Colin Coben was always like mentor for lots of young guys. He taught a lot of young guys lots of things, and I think it's just patience and keeping your composure. Like things don't happen quick on a golf course. It takes time. Like I just find if you know you're hitting good shots, you just got to stay patient, and it'll start to happen. Just that mental state of just not getting too worked up, not getting too excited or too down or too up. It's just kind of just keeping it nice and even flow, and just being patient, I think, is a huge thing to take it to the next level.
Wow. Greatly said. Greg, I appreciate your time today, man, on the pod. I wish you nothing but success in the Lou Real Cup. Continue your golf. Keep playing well, man. And we'll have to play around soon here at some point, maybe either this summer or next year.
Yeah, I hope so, Drew. I mean, it's been awesome what you've been doing with Off the Hosel. So thanks a lot for having me on today. I appreciate it a lot, and hopefully we can get that round in soon.
All right, Greg. Thanks, buddy. Cheers.
Perfect. See ya.